FedEx Forum is the site, and you're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Memphis, Tennessee to open it up on a Thursday night with a rematch of last year's American Conference Championship game. UConn and Memphis, each seeking their first league victory. Adam Amin, Len Elmore on hand, and Kevin Ollie has had a rough start to his season. They have lost 4 of their last 5, including 3 in a row. A lot of injuries for a 5-8 team right now. Terry Larrier, Altery Gilbert, both injured early in the season. Mamadou Diarra hasn't even seen the floor yet due to a knee injury. And Lenny, it doesn't get any easier tonight. What to watch for is the brothers Lawson for this very prolific Memphis Tiger offense.
That's right. It's a family affair for the Memphis Tigers. The Lawson brothers, KJ and Diedrich, they combined for 34 points per game, 17 double-doubles, and 19.5 rebounds, which makes them the leading rebounding tandem in NCAA Division I.
UConn trying to avoid going 4 games under 500 for the first time in 3 decades. While Memphis tries to snap a 3-game skid against the Huskies, UConn swept the season series, including the American Conference Championship a year ago.
Well, for UConn, it's all about making plays and execute. You know, except for the Houston game, December 28th, the Huskies have been in most of their losses, including 2 of the last 3, which were overtime losses.
Rodney Purvis, the team's second leading scorer, can't connect, and here comes Memphis. For the first-year head coach in Tubby Smith, they're off to a 10-4 start. They dropped a tight league opener against SMU, but coming off their best win of the season against a top 30 RPI team in South Carolina. Markel Crawford picks up the dribble.
Yeah, we talk about the family affair with the brothers Lawson, but Markel Crawford has been kind of hot of late as well.
KJ Lawson misses, and here comes UConn. Coming off an overtime loss at Tulsa after they were blown out against Houston, but Jalen Adams did not play against the Cougars due to a concussion against Auburn in the game prior. Loose on the deck, flipped out by Jeremiah Martin, and here comes Memphis.
And Memphis likes to get up and down when the opportunity presents itself. UConn's done a better job right here of slowing it down, getting back.
Lawson to Rivers, and Diedrich Lawson is an excellent passer. He's second on the team in assists as well.
Yeah, look, we talked about both KJ and Diedrich, but Diedrich, the sophomore, the younger of the 2 because of reclassification, he's on fire. 21 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, which is outstanding for a big, particularly a guy who puts points on the board himself.
He's defending against Amita Brima here. That'll be a fun matchup to watch tonight, and Brima ties the game.
And I like the way Brima went right at Lawson. One of the best ways to contain an outstanding offensive player is to make him play defense.
That's a 3 from Diedrich Lawson off target. He's a 28% three-point shooter so far this season. 2 minutes in, tied at 2. Both of these teams, surprisingly, without a league win so far. But again, only 1 game for Memphis, 2 for UConn. A crucial early season game between these 2. On the deck, here is Kenton Facey with a smooth-looking jump shot from the 6'10" senior from Jamaica to give UConn its first lead.
And Adam, we referenced the injuries at the beginning of the telecast, and one of the beneficiaries of that has been Kenton Facey, a guy who's really had to step up. He's had 2 double-figure games, 1 double-double, but over the last 4 games, averaging 11 points, 9 rebounds. After watching him last year, you would have never thought that he was capable of doing what he's doing, but that's what adversity can do, bring out the best.
KJ Lawson ties us at 4. One of 4 double-figure scorers for Memphis on the season so far, a team that averages 81 points per game. Lawson continues to guard Brima. Here's Rodney Purvis over Crawford for 3. Rodney Purvis trying to stay consistent on the shooting end of things. He knocks it down.
Boy, what a sight for sore eyes. Rodney Purvis not shooting particularly well. I mean, he's particularly well. He's not shooting well at all.
No.
Oh, in the season, but he's capable of doing exactly what you saw if he gets hot.
Martin, no. And down to the deck went Brima for the rebound.
Surprised they didn't call a travel on that. Usually that's what goes on. You hit the deck after getting a rebound, falling to the floor. Here
is Purvis, averaging 13 a game so far this year. And Jalen Adams, who has really stepped into a key role with all the injuries this year. Deep two, Jalen Adams knocks it down. 4 different Huskies have scored the 9 points.
Yeah, Jalen Adams, absolutely the star of the future. And probably for now, for UConn, 4th in the conference in scoring, 1st in assists. You know, as he goes, that's how UConn goes. I tell you what, the deliberate tempo of UConn on the offensive end, you know, they get good looks, good shots, cover the glass. It's really slowed Memphis, not allowing them to get in transition, but it doesn't matter when KJ Lawson can start to light it up in the half court.
Now, if you're UConn, Kevin Ali talked to us, you got to slow Memphis down in transition. This is a deliberate thing that they're doing to try to slow down in their half court set right now.
Oh, absolutely. They want to make sure they execute, get good looks, because normally bad shots, that's usually the first pass to the other team's fast break.
Facey couldn't snare the offensive rebound, and a foul called on Jeremiah Martin. The first whistle of the game takes us to our first timeout. Nice pace and flow early here in Memphis. 3-point Husky lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by CenturyLink. Connecting more than just places. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
Jalen Adams has averaged nearly 17 points per game. He did not play in the American Conference opener against Houston, but came back with 18 points against Tulsa in that overtime loss. This is why he did not play against the Cougars. The game prior took a shot to the head and then was probably knocked out as he went down to the deck and hit his head once again, which forced that cut. So he did not play at all against Houston, and it showed because they got blown out of that game.
Yeah, I mean, it was no coincidence that they could muster no offense whatsoever, and defensively had a hard time containing Houston's scorers, because that's what Jalen Adams does. Excellent pressure on the point of the ball. Take a look at his numbers. You know, obviously more than doubled in just about every area. He's just developed into the player everyone expected. Last year as a freshman, they knew that that progressive timeline and that improvement line would be exactly what it is.
Went to the Chris Paul camp earlier this summer, so if some Memphis Grizzly fans are watching, they got a chance to see Chris Paul play last night for the Clippers, but that really helped his development. He had a lot of highs and some lows as well as a freshman, but Adams has really matured this season, stepping into the leadership role. Plus, he rocks the short shorts, so it's easy to root for. Shot clock inside of 10, and here is Adams. Good ball rotation for a Purvis three. Here comes Memphis.
And that's a look again that in the past history Rodney Purvis would have knocked down.
KJ Lawson transition, triple to tie the game, and the first 3 for the Tigers makes it a 9-9 game. Already KJ Lawson's got 7.
KJ Lawson certainly coming out of a slump over the last couple of games. He's really had difficulty finding the basket.
That's 7 points combined against South Carolina and SMU. He's already got 7 tonight. In a double team, tough shot put up by Facey, and he knocks it down. Good offensive start on both sides. Both teams shooting 50% of the early going.
And for UConn, one of the things they've been able to do is really keep the ball out of Dedrick Lawson's hands.
Yeah, we haven't seen much on the touch end of things for Dedrick.
Yeah, he hasn't been down in the low blocks much either. I think Memphis anticipates the double.
Amita Bryman trying to deny KJ Lawson in the switch, and a whistle and a foul is called here against KJ. Orlando Tubby Smith, first season for this journeyman, although I think that term probably gets misused sometimes because that indicates somebody who hasn't had success. This guy's been successful everywhere he's gone. He and Lon Kruger are the only 2 head coaches to ever take 5 teams to the NCAA tournament. He did it with Texas Tech last year. Now takes over at Memphis for Josh Pastner.
Yeah, won it for Kentucky in '98. 567 wins. 3-time national coach of the year. And still just dedicated to developing young people both on and off the floor.
Steven Enoch misses off the bench from point-blank range, and here comes Memphis. There's a touch for KJ Lawson against Enoch. Enoch made it difficult for him there. Loose to the deck for Facey, and a good save for Vance Jackson.
50-50 balls right now, UConn's favor. They seem to be playing with a lot more motivation. And the last loss against Houston, where they looked as though, from a body language standpoint, they gave up in the first half.
There's Adams with a shot clock at 7. Off the facey pick, that's deflected and out of bounds with 2 on the shot clock for UConn. Kevin Ollie, obviously the difficult start to his season. They started 0-2 for the first time since 1968-69, and he's trying to battle through these injuries too. Adams got a good look late in the clock, and here comes Memphis again. Top 3 here from Lawson. That will not go. He's missed his first couple of tries from the outside.
Kind of mystified as to why Lawson continues to stay on the perimeter instead of flashing in and out. The guy averages 21 points, 11 rebounds, and it can't be that he's trying to avoid the bigs.
No, I agree.
UConn. Bryma's not in the game right now, so no real rim protectors.
We got 2 of the best shot blockers in the league in Bryma and Lawson. Adams from the outside. That won't go. There is Diedrich with a rebound snatch down. And here comes Diedrich all the way to the rim. There are the first 2 points of the night for the leading scorer in the American Conference.
And that's a glimpse of the skills he brings to the table. Not only ability to rebound, but go coast to coast under control. And even despite the defensive challenge, able to put the ball in the basket.
Purvis off the glass. And here comes Markel Crawford. Second leading scorer coming off a career-high 28.
Right now, quick shots by UConn.
Yep.
Given opportunities for Memphis.
You talked about it. The deliberate pace of UConn executing on the offensive end. They were doing well. Now they start to take some quick ones, and Memphis starts to roll.
Yeah, taking advantage of the broken floor, finding holes in the defense and attacking.
A 9-2 run for the Tigers to take a 2-point lead. Diedrich Lawson is the top scorer in the American Conference. He gets his first 2 points. And when we come back, we'll talk about what Diedrich means to this league, and we'll preview the American Conference. Well, if you haven't been paying attention and now conference play is getting going, you know that SMU has a new coach. Tim Jankovic was promoted. They're off to a 3-0 start. Are the Mustangs in conference play? Mike Dunleavy Sr. hired by Tulane. They're off to a bit of a rocky start under Mike's tenure so far. Johnny Dawkins is turning out to be a fantastic hire. UCF with a rock-solid start to their season. And, of course, Tubby Smith, hired by Memphis. Josh Pastner to Georgia Tech, where there have been some highs and lows in Atlanta thus far. Cincinnati was picked to win this league. UConn second. Of course, that was before people realized that the injury bug was going to bite the Huskies. And then you see Memphis in the top 5 in this league. So look at the preseason poll, and this is what the early part of the season looks like in terms of the standings. We mentioned UCF at 3-0, SMU and Houston sitting at the top. We're sitting courtside here at FedEx Forum. Adam Amin, Lenny Elmore, happy to be with you every Thursday night for the American Conference. And last year was a good year for the postseason. SMU was ineligible. They're eligible again. We could see a handful of teams in the tournament this year from this league.
Yeah, I mean, 4 teams in the tournament last year. Could have been 5, but for SMU's sanction. But in the end, it could be different teams. You talked about the slow start for UConn. Look at Temple. They've been up and down.
Right.
You know, these are teams that went to the tournament last year. But let's take a look at some new faces. Houston, which went to the NIT last year, they've got outstanding offensive play in Rob Gray and Damian Dotson. And then the sleeper in my mind, Central Florida. You know, I talk about the really, really big man, Taco Fall.
Yep, 7'6".
At 7'6". And I tell you what, his improvement has been absolutely tremendous. And he's got a terrific coach behind him in Johnny Dawkins. They're going to make some noise down there. You know, stingy defense, pretty good offensive play. You know, I like the competitiveness of this conference. And if they can get half the teams, almost half their teams in the NCAA tournament, that's saying something.
Purvis late in the clock gets it to roll home. He's got 5, and we're tied at 13.
And, you know, we'd be remiss without paying a little more attention to the class of the conference, and that's Cincinnati.
Absolutely.
You know, Mick Cronin just keeps coming up with new faces to go along with the guys who've been in the program for a while, playing outstanding defense, you know, getting some offense going. And SMU, obviously, you know, fundamentally sound. Tim Jankovic hasn't really missed a beat, as Larry Brown, who's resigned, And Jankovic has taken over. I mean, it's just wonderful to watch them play. Outstanding rebounding team.
Yeah, Shemi Ojale had another big game last night in SMU's victory over Temple. UConn back in front. 15-13 lead, and high off the glass goes Craig Randall off the bench to tie it up. Really good pace, really good flow. No turnovers yet on either side. Both teams shooting relatively well.
And the problem for UConn is, you know, the pace has sped up a bit, and that works in the favor of the Memphis Tigers.
Of course, we're leading you up to the final college football game of the season. National championship in the third year of the college football playoff, presented by AT&T. The rematch of a classic from last year. This one from Tampa. Clemson and Alabama Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. You got a prediction for me or what?
It may be blasphemous, but I don't know, man. In my mind, I just see Clemson's offense a little more dynamic. Alabama's defense obviously can do some damaging things to teams, but I just think this is the Tigers' year, and no one can tell me that the Lane Kiffin situation won't have some kind of impact mentally on this Alabama team. We'll see.
Greg Randall, an improving three-point shooter, knocks it down. Memphis up by 3. If you're so inclined, flip over to ESPN2 and watch me make a fool out of myself on the Homers telecast with our buddy Joe Tessitore, Barrett Jones, and Taj Bull. 9 to play first half. On the move, it's Facey. Amita Brima going back up, and he draws the foul. Brima, one of the top big men in this league in terms of shot blocking, solid rebounder. You'd like to see a little bit more production from him in this his final year. And coming off a good all-around game at Tulsa, 8 points, 9 boards, and 6 blocks for the league's top shot blocking team.
Yeah, I mean, he's a terrific young man. And, you know, outstanding leader and cheerleader on this team, always enthusiastic. But I'm a little surprised that, you know, his trajectory has stalled somewhat. I mean, this is a guy that's shown great improvement over his first 3 years, and he's kind of flattened out this year. One of the big problems, he could be a better rebounder if he doesn't go after everything. Once a
Every
guy,
shot block, I mean,
exactly, a better shot block, but the shot go after everything from a shot blocking standpoint. That would make him a better rebounder because he's in position. You know, he's got to use sometimes the element of the power of suggestion that he might go after, and that changes shots as well.
Randall against the zone. Brima was in the middle of that zone, and he snares the rebound.
Did a good job of blocking out the man closest to him.
Purvis to Brima with a quick push shot. Brima slapped it back towards the top, and then he runs it down. Finds Facey, but a traveling violation. And there's the first turnover of the game on either side.
Wow, that's tough, though, but that was kind of a frenetic exchange right there, and that's what UConn needs to avoid. You know, they're much better when they've set up. They're a little more patterned, and they can really get the floor balance for themselves. You take a look at the pressure right here, not necessarily designed to turn people over, but to maybe slow the pace.
And now Brima is there for a shot block.
And didn't have to move either.
Exactly. It was an opportune time for the shot block as Purvis flips it up.
Another quick shot.
Yep.
That's what hurts him. And here comes Memphis.
This is what Kevin Ollie wanted to avoid. Inside, and Jamario Rivers gets fouled. That'll take us to a timeout. And we've talked about it. Memphis shooting 44% in the early going. UConn has cooled off with some quick shots, just 33% here in the first.
Chris Cotter in studio along with Coach and Jay Will. Hand over halftime report coming up. We're going to break down UCLA and Cal. That's a big one in the Pac-12 later on tonight. Plus, what do you make of the first half of our game?
Jalen Adams back is good for Connecticut. They really struggle to score. Dietrich Lawson and KJ Lawson, pretty good for Memphis.
Dietrich Lawson, one of the most underrated players in the country. They need to give him the ball more down low on the block.
Now he's not underrated anymore. You just talked about it.
There we go. I just rated him.
Nice. So you guys just took away the underrated part of it. You just made Dietrich Lawson rated. Now, solid stuff. We'll see you guys in 7:53. You know, they were talking about Oregon. Oregon's already got a win against UCLA this season, off to a great start. Baylor and Gonzaga, the only 2 unbeaten teams left. Baylor got away with one last night against Iowa State. Villanova dropped one at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Big 12, obviously a very good league with Baylor sitting at the top. If they beat Oklahoma State Saturday, you're probably looking at the new #1 team in the land.
Yeah, in all probability. But I'm not surprised that Villanova in conference took that loss. I mean, look, they've had a target on their backs. That kind of fatigue every night you're getting the other team's best, that's going to wear on you. It's early. You know, it's a snapshot. It's not the total picture.
And what did you
I
tell me
guarantee you they're going to bounce back.
And what did you tell me last night, though? I mean, 50-50 balls.
Right.
Were more in Butler's favor last night at home than they were for Villanova, and part of that could be the fatigue that they.
Yeah, I mean, the major character you see in Villanova is their toughness, and they got out-toughed by Butler in that particular night. But again, that comes from the fatigue, as I mentioned, of taking everybody's best because you're #1 and defending national champ.
And again, we only have 2 unbeaten teams left in the country as UConn turns it over. That makes what Kentucky did a couple of years ago when they went undefeated all the way to the Final Four that much more impressive. It is hard to win games in conference play in college basketball. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
These 2 teams looking for their first wins. These are 2 teams that were picked in the top 5 of this league. Keon Clergeot running the point, backup point guard. Clock inside of 5. Randall, deep one. Purvis there for the rebound.
I'll tell you, one of the big issues that UConn has to overcome in the first 5 minutes of the game, 4 of 7 in their pattern, you know, really patient type of offense. And over the last 8 minutes, they've been like 3 of 15, simply because they've rushed shots, they've rushed their offense a little bit, and really haven't gotten any good looks.
Now the turnovers starting to pile up. I think Kevin Ollie said exactly what you said, though, in the last huddle. Let's slow things down and run the offense, but the turnovers have now become an issue. Randall into a tough spot with Grime out in front of him. Here's Rivers. And Facey's there for the rebound. So now Memphis leaning on the outside shot.
Yeah, Memphis playing right into UConn's hands, taking the low percentage shots, moving the ball around, but not working inside out as efficiently as they could.
Whistle and a foul call. Rivers gets tagged for it. Good doubleheader coming your way Saturday. This one's from the Palestra. If you haven't watched a game on TV that's come from the Palestra, please watch this. It's a blast. Michigan State takes on Penn State as the host. And then North Carolina State, and this guy's becoming a name to watch. Dennis Scott will take on 14th ranked North Carolina in their in-state matchup at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Dennis Smith, beg your pardon. I said Scott for some reason. I'm thinking of the old Boston guard. But I mean, Dennis Smith last night, triple-double in a blowout against Virginia Tech. I mean, he was everything and then some as UConn turns it over for the 4th time in 5 trips, and Adams commits a foul. NC State's going to make some noise, you guess, with Smith doing what he's doing so far in the early part of this conference season.
Yeah, they had some defection with the Martin twins leaving, etc. But, you know, Smith obviously more than makes up for it, as well as the maturity of some of the other players who played accessory roles last year.
Good cut by Crawford to get a good look inside this time, and Memphis takes its largest lead at 5.
And again, we talk a lot about the Lawsons. You know, Dedrick Lawson kind of quiet, but Markel Crawford really an explosive offensive player. Once you get him the ball and he gets started. 28.7 rebounds in the last game that they played against South Carolina.
Foul away from the ball here.
All right, you're going to take a look right there. Markel Crawford, just take a look at his hand up in the air, making sure the play is called. Just a little circle cut off the screen from Dedrick Lawson. There's hardly, you know, any challenge whatsoever by UConn. And they were working today in practice on getting through screens right there. Didn't look like anybody was paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, you got to battle through. Grima picked up the foul after the shot at the other end, his first. They blitz Dedrick Lawson. That's something that Kevin Ollie talked to us about. They go right back on the repost and the high post to Dedrick Lawson. You want to get him as many touches as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's particularly inside because you're going to make defenses shift. If he stands outside, he starts launching threes, okay, you might live with that. He's a 28% three-point shooter. It doesn't mean he can't knock them down, but not with the same regularity. But once he goes inside, you have got to account for him, and that makes it an opportunity for the other 4.
Adams looked so frustrated after that last miss, kind of bent at the waist. Carrying violation called by Tony Green against Lawson here. First Memphis turnover of this game. Tubby Smith asking the veteran Tony Green, a couple of guys who've crossed paths several times in their very impressive and long careers. Had a good officiating crew with John Higgins, Tony Green, and Steve Olson tonight. There's Christian Vital, and the freshman draws the foul.
When you take a look at a guy like Christian Vital, you know, he's a player that is going to develop and be an outstanding guard at some point in time. This wasn't supposed to be his year, but for the injuries suffered, and particularly Altair Gilbert, who was going to be the floor leader for this team. He's out for the season. Vital has to step in and kind of, you know, get some on-the-job training.
Yep.
And he's had some moments now.
Remember, he hit the 2 big free throws late against Syracuse to clinch that game at Madison Square Garden. Rivers is out now with 2 fouls for Memphis. Purvis takes a 3. That's in and out. Rebounded by the freshman Juwan Durham, and he's able to put it back up and in and score. First field goal since the 10-10 mark for Connecticut. Quick trigger from the outside from KJ Lawson. Can UConn cash in?
Well, that was exactly what they wanted, a quick shot, get the rebound.
A good look by Adams, but again, he's frustrated after the miss. It'll be Memphis ball on the other side. 3:38 to play opening half. 2 teams that met in the American Conference Championship last year. Good balance on both sides, with Memphis leading 23-18 against Connecticut. KJ Lawson leading the way with 7 points for the Memphis guards, who have 17 of the Tigers' 23. Lenny talked about it. Hot start for UConn. Then they start to settle. This is an offense for UConn that obviously has all the injuries that they're dealing with, but they lost 3 of their top 4 scorers from last year as well, and they're still trying to find their offensive identity. Who's going to be the guy that you can lean on night in and night out? And so far, 13 games in, it's been a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, you take a look again, offense has been slow to come for UConn. And it really takes a lot of discipline for a team to exercise the patience that they did in the first 5 minutes of the game. It allowed them to shoot 4 of 7, get good looks, as well as control tempo, because they were able to cover the board, and if they didn't make shots, they were able to balance the floor and get back. Once they started to rush shots and try to play at Memphis's pace, that's when they ran into trouble. And still, the game is not anywhere out of reach.
It's only a 5-point game. The Lawsons, Crawford, Martin, and Randall, the only bench player, out on the floor for Memphis here. Vital, difficult assignment against Markel Crawford, but a second chance for Memphis. Back up and in goes Markel, and he's got 6.
Vital did everything correctly the first shot, and then, of course, forgot to block out, allowed Crawford to get the ball back.
Purvis, Facey, Adams, Durham, and Vital. 5 out there for Connecticut. Largest deficit they've faced is 7.
A little more continuity in ball movement offensively.
Facey just dribbled it off his foot. Turnovers piling up now for UConn. Good job by Facey using his length.
Outstanding job by Facey.
And Vital with another turnover as he bangs his way into Jeremiah Martin. Second foul on Vital.
Actually, outstanding job on this end as well. Look at the anticipation. Vital, again, young fella's got to learn, you know, discretion sometimes a better part of getting in the paint.
So Vital checks out, and now for UConn, Vance Jackson back in.
I'm sure he'll get a dap, but he'll get an earful later on, exercising some judgment. But on the other end, Facey did a terrific job of fighting to get around in front of Lawson as Lawson changed sides on the lane.
You heard Jay Will talk about it in the studio. Lawson still looking for some paint touches. He's kind of trying to slip behind the zone. He's pointing back up towards the basket, hoping for a backdoor play.
Yeah, well, he's looking for the alley-oop.
There's a good look close to the paint. And Dedrick Lawson, a very efficient scorer, 50% shooter this year. is 3 of 5, and it's a 9-point lead, the largest for Memphis in the first.
Yeah, I mean, he's letting the game come to him, but early, the reason why he wasn't getting the ball had nothing to do with his inability to get it to him. He just wasn't standing in the low block. He was coming out high. He wanted to stay at the high post. He wanted to stay at the top of the key. He started looking for threes.
Again, Brima's off the floor with 2 fouls, so there's no true rim protector back there. Facey's got 18 blocks, but not nearly the prowess that Brima has.
And UConn's going into a zone. It's a 2-3 that kind of morphs into a 1-3-1 depending on how they match up.
Crawford trying to shoot him out of it, and he has his 4th field goal of the first half. 9 points, and it's a 10-point lead for Memphis.
Well, I think with Brima out of the game, the worry of UConn is that there'll be too much action in the paint from Memphis. That's why they want to zone up.
Crawford picks up the foul. Memphis isn't a great three-point shooting team. Only 30% as a club, but Crawford carries one.
Yeah, I mean, they don't look for it, but nevertheless, they've got an opportunity. And Crawford's 33%. But here is where the problems come. One-on-one, Dedrick Lawson is a load. And that time, Facey got no help.
Dedrick Lawson, Tubby Smith told us, as complete a player as I've had in a long time. Some NBA scouts are here tonight to see Dedrick Lawson. I talked to a couple of them tonight, and they're still trying to get the 30,000-foot view of what Dedrick Lawson is. Obviously, it's still early, very early in the draft process, so you're going to get a lot of looks at these guys as the next couple of months go by. How does this guy's physicality and skill set translate as he gets older? It's hard to extrapolate that if you're a scout right now. You're hoping to see a bigger sample size.
Yeah, but he is a tremendously skilled player. He can handle, he can go where he wants to go. My problem is that, and it will happen with maturity, he's just got to kick that motor up a notch.
Okay.
You know, sometimes he's more than willing to just stand on the sideline, stand in the shadows instead of being aggressive and assertive.
And a 5.5-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock here. UConn down by 8. They've trailed by as many as 10 in the first half. It is Adams with the double from Dedrick Lawson. Numbers for Memphis. Crawford will lay it in. Jackson trying to beat everybody down the floor, and Randall did a good job of just slapping it away to prevent the fast break for Jackson. Little Memphis motor that time to go up 10.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the good hands, and then we talked about being supremely skilled. I forgot the one element I think that makes him really impressive for a guy who scores like that. So unselfish.
Yep. Good passer is Dedrick. 5.5 on the clock. Comes out to Adams. Adams careening inside with the English off the glass to beat the buzzer and make it a single-digit game. Impressive stuff for Adams, who closes the half with 4. Solid stuff to at least keep this competitive.
And you see why Jalen Adams leads this team. Willing to take the big shots, able to make them. Nice.
A 19-9 run, though, for Memphis to lead by 8 at the halftime break. We'll send it to the studio after these messages for the Land Rover halftime. Back in Memphis, and you're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Memphis with a 19-9 run to close out half number 1, and they've got the 8-point advantage on UConn in a rematch of last year's American Conference championship game. Welcome to courtside at FedEx Forum. Adam Amin, Len Elmore, happy to be with you on a Thursday night. Now, Dedrick Lawson's the stud. I mean, he's arguably the best player in this league. But Memphis has 4 double-figure scorers, and a couple of them are giving him a lot of help around him in the offense.
Yeah, I mean, UConn's defense has done a decent job in limiting Dedrick Lawson, and Lawson himself hasn't necessarily been in the position that he needed to be. But when it all comes down to it, it was KJ Lawson who really got this team started. Quick 7 points in the first 12 minutes, able to knock down some shots, get into the paint, and find some openings. And then in the last 3 minutes and 38 seconds, it was all about Markel Crawford. Crawford 3 of 4 in that last 3 minutes and 38 seconds, 4 of 7 points as well. You know, they've been able to find the range. And again, with a little help from his friends, kind of staked Memphis out to this lead.
9-0 on the fast break advantage for Memphis. Lenny talked about that. Some quick shots and some turnovers allowed Memphis to run. Too many live ball turnovers, you thought, for UConn.
Yeah, 5 steals from Memphis, and you saw that last one that kind of punctuated the end of the half. You know, those open floor live ball turnovers give Memphis a chance to get out and run, and it's really done some damage.
Brima and Vital have 2 fouls for UConn. They're both on the floor in the same 10 that started this game, start the second half, and Markel Crawford picks up right where he left off at the end of the first half. 13 on 6 of 8 shooting for Crawford, the redshirt junior out of here in Memphis. Jalen Adams, who has played every minute of the last 2 games, including all 45 minutes. The overtime loss to Tulsa, is out there to start the half. Vital with Crawford defending, tipped up and in by Brima.
Nice job on the weak side glass. Amita Brima posted up looking for the ball, didn't get it, but he didn't sulk. He worked his way on that weak side glass, ready to tip that ball back in. And UConn needs to find other ways to score. If they can't put it in the basket from the initial shot, they've got to battle on the glass.
Brima's got 8 rebounds. There's Crawford again. Paint touch for Markel Crawford.
Crawford showing no fear in the paint. Lofted that one high over the extended reach of Amita Brima.
They scored double figures in every game but the Providence game this year.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a Memphis team that doesn't rely on the 3. They like to get the ball, penetrate, get the higher percentage shots. And when the 3s kind of avail themselves, they're able to take it.
Tough take by Purvis, and Lawson comes in for the rebound, starts the break. It comes loose to the hands of Rivers. Boy, Vital did everything he could to try to take it away for UConn, but Rivers, Johnny, on the spot for the largest lead of the game.
Yeah, for UConn, that was buzzard's luck right there. Young freshman really hustled.
And Facey hanging on the rim to make sure he doesn't land on Rivers.
Take a look at the shot coming up. Fast break by Memphis. And Vital does a nice job of running behind and stripping. But with no help in front, the ball was stripped right into the hands of a Memphis Tiger.
It was Rivers who now picks up his 3rd foul. And he's the first in this game with 3 personals. So Craig Randall in off the bench after 5 first half points.
There's an opportunity to go inside, play inside out. Look at the shift of the Memphis defense. You just got to find out who the right person is to throw it to.
Good job by Facey to get back and deny Lawson. And then Purvis loses it at the other end. And UConn's sloppiness has been a problem tonight. They set it up for Randall and a 3. Brima with his 9th rebound, but he lost it. Picked up by KJ Lawson. Dedrick Lawson is there. Blocked by Brima, but a whistle.
Uncharacteristically lackadaisical on that last play by Amita Brima. Take a look at the double team right there. Now the open man, you can try to get it here. You've got an opportunity to get it there. Instead, it gets tipped. Facey's got to turn and actually face the defense and find open men. But when you play inside out, you saw the opportunities that are presented if you can get the ball to the right spot.
Dedrick Lawson, top scorer in the league, 6 in the first half. Jalen Adams picked up his 2nd foul, sending Lawson to the line. He's one of 3 players in this country that averages 20 points and 10 rebounds.
But you know what I like about what Lawson's doing right now? He's averaging 20-something points a game.
Yep.
Only has 8 or 7 right now. But he's letting the game come to him. He hasn't forced anything. He's been unselfish in moving the ball.
He's got 4 rebounds and 4 assists in this game.
Right. I mean, you gotta really appreciate that. He's not a point-hungry guy. It's a guy that just wants to be able to do what it takes to win. And there's folks on the next level that are taking a look at this young man. They've got to factor that in as well.
The Craig Randall foul sends Christian Vital to the free throw line. His first point of the night. Freshman out of Queens Village, New York. hit the 2 big free throws late against Syracuse with a couple seconds left at Madison Square Garden. That's a nice way to endear yourself to UConn fans, to knock off your old Big East rival.
You know, I was saying the young man pressed into this feature role now because of the injuries. Last 2 games coming into this one, averaged 12 points.
Yep.
9 of 19 from the field, shooting a respectable 5-11 from beyond the arc.
Brothers Lawson teaming up there. Facey's got the rebound for UConn. 3 minutes into the second half. Deep touch for Brima, and he's blocked by Lawson. A team leading 39th block this year for Diedrich.
Take a look right there. Brima didn't feel Lawson behind him. And that's when you got to really play big. Brima's got to spread those shoulders, take that ball up strong, be able to draw that foul.
Let's see where the touches come for UConn. Good fake by Vital to get free for 3. But it's all white jerseys underneath for the rebound for Memphis. Diedrich Lawson comfortable bringing the ball up.
Good defense by Brima right there.
Randall gets a look and knocks down his second 3 of the game. And the largest lead is now 14 for Memphis.
Good defense is a team effort. You can't have just one guy playing it well.
Good screen by Brima. He wants the post touch, but Lawson did a decent job front.
Yeah, and Brima gave up that spot right there. You got to be strong and you got to play big down low. That's one of the things I remarked about his improvement trajectory is kind of leveled off.
Good spin by Crawford to start up the break. Martin for 3. Rebounded by Vital.
There's a good opportunity for Brima to duck in right now, but he's a little winded because of the pace of this game.
So he sets the high screen. Adams could not connect. Tapped out loose to Crawford. Memphis shoots for an even larger lead. The kick to Randall. Vital for the rebound. Now UConn needs a bucket. Just 1 of 6 from the floor in the second half. And with 15:04, that'll take us to a timeout on the floor. We'll talk about the Lawson effect, Diedrich and KJ, and there are many more names to talk about in what is an incredibly talented basketball family. There are 2 Lawsons in that Memphis huddle. Diedrich is a sophomore, but he is the younger brother of KJ, who's a redshirt freshman after all the reclassification. Diedrich, one of 3 players averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds in college basketball at the Division I level. The co-player of the year in the conference with Troy Copain of Cincinnati. He's got 11 double-doubles this season, and both KJ and Diedrich come from very good stock. There's Diedrich, who was a player and eventually became the head coach at Lemoyne Owen. And then, of course, Diedrich and KJ's dad, Keelan, is on staff, a current assistant for Memphis who played at UAB and met Diedrich at Lemoyne Owen as a player as well. Diedrich and KJ are 2 of 5 boys. And don't look now, but Chandler is a top 25 sophomore in the country at 6'7" and 190 pounds.
So you're saying they come by it honestly, huh? Wow. That's about to become basketball royalty.
One of 17 sets of brothers at the Division I level, Diedrich and KJ, and obviously they're on the same team. They helped spur Memphis to a 14-point advantage tonight. Got them off to a 10-4 start on the season. 0-1 though in conference play. Here is KJ inside. Brima made it tough. Does UConn have a run? Adams up top, Facey. Maybe that gets him going.
Good nonverbal communication by the 2 of them. Adams saw Facey when he crossed half court and got himself in good position. And maybe that is going to motivate UConn. A little pep in their step defensively.
First fast break points of the night for UConn. Memphis has had a decided advantage in that category tonight. Shot clock inside of 10.
UConn much better when they're playing man-to-man as they are now, as opposed to zone.
Crawford forced into a tough deep two, and it's rebounded by KJ Lawson, and a foul, I believe, on Purvis. First on Purvis.
We're going to take a look right there. He sees him as soon as he crossed half court. Just wanted to get himself in position. And give Facey a lot of credit for running the floor. Easy opportunities. UConn struggles in their half court, but when easy opportunities present themselves, they have got to capitalize, and they can create those easy opportunities with hustle plays like that.
Tubby Smith, what a fantastic job he's done in his first year. 4 years at Tulsa, 2 years at Georgia, 10 years at Kentucky, 6 at Minnesota, 3 years at Texas Tech. And it's taken 5 different teams to the NCAA tournament. If he takes Memphis this year, they'd be there for the first time in a couple of years. Josh Pastner finished up after 7 seasons at Memphis. They missed the tournament his final 2 years. Adams up top this time. It's Enoch at the receiving end. So a couple of good assists by Jalen Adams.
Yeah, that's a great way to get Memphis out of that zone pressure. And you start attacking like that, play aggressively, and as I mentioned, it gives UConn some newfound life.
Diedrich muscling inside, got it to go in a foul. Enoch ends up getting tagged for it, chance at 3.
Well, right here, again, he hasn't always been there tonight when he's wanted, but when Memphis needs him, Diedrich Lawson finds a way. And that time you saw him do a terrific job, patient, putting it on the floor, which is a strength for a guy his size, being able to go where he wants to go, and then using his left hand.
He's into double figures. He's got a very balanced line tonight with the rebounds and assists. Handles the ball well at 6'9", 236 pounds. Translates to a 4 in the NBA right now. Adams with a tough shot, at least according to some of the scouts that we talked to today.
No, that was a tough shot no matter who you talk to. It just wasn't a good decision by Jalen Adams.
Lawson misses there. Here comes UConn. Adams and Jackson and Facey, along with Enoch and Purvis.
Nice hustle.
Good save by Jackson, but it's loose to Lawson. A little showtime in Memphis.
And that's a pure case of just trying too hard. Jalen Adams trying to get the bounce pass, entry pass down low. And once that ball was knocked loose, UConn's buzzard's luck emerged. Take a look right there, an opportunity there, back on the floor. But Memphis finding gold in them down hills.
The Tigers tied to the sequel.
Deshaun Watson had a nice game against Ohio State in the semifinals, and of course, Bo Scarborough was the stud against the Washington defense that had played really well all season long, and Bo ran all over.
Well, that kind of buttresses my prediction. Deshaun Watson probably more dynamic than any quarterback that Alabama faces here. I think Clemson's linebacker Ben Boulware, if he's going to size up Bo Scarborough, that's going to be a battle right there. So.
Watch for that. Number 9 against number 4 when Alabama's running the football on Monday night on ESPN, 8 o'clock Eastern time. College football championship presented by AT&T.
I'd be surprised if Boulware's not spying Scarborough or any of the other running back.
See how Jalen Hurts performs. Dynamic quarterback for Alabama against what has been a rock-solid front 7 for Clemson this year. 17-point game, largest deficit for UConn. Markel Crawford has led the way for the Tigers, leading all scores with 17. Purvis around and out on the 3. Facey grabs the ricochet and a tough shot off the glass to get 2.
And that's what I mean by the improvement of Kenton Facey. Pushed into service to do more than he's done in his first 3 years at UConn. He's really delivering. But the biggest problem for UConn has been turnover margin in 2 conference games coming into this one. They were minus 5.5 in turnover margin. Tonight, they're minus 9, as Memphis has only turned the ball over twice, and UConn's turned it over 11 times.
Whistle and a foul called at the 11:51 mark. That'll take us to a timeout. Memphis up by 15. 2 teams seeking their first conference win early in the season. Story of Connecticut's season has been injuries. Alterique Gilbert, outstanding freshman, tears his labrum in the 3rd game of the year against Loyola Marymount. They go out to Maui, and Terry Larrier, the redshirt sophomore transfer from BCU, tears his ACL. Mamadou Diarra, part of that outstanding freshman class, hasn't even seen the floor yet due to a knee injury. What could have been for this team? Remember, this recruiting class came in calling themselves the top 5 in lieu of the Fab 5 and kind of trying to brand themselves, and 2 of those top 5 haven't even seen the floor of the number 9 recruiting class this year.
And what it's done is move people who may not have been ready for feature roles, and move people who were accessories and would have been accessories throughout their career into those feature roles, and they've had to grow. And right now, that growth is slow in coming, particularly on the offensive end.
And UConn goes back into the zone that we saw multiple times in the first half. Randall's a good shooter against the zone. He's knocked down a couple of threes.
Well, that zone in part is to kind of protect some guys, and Jalen Adams played 28 minutes just about every minute of this game, and I'm sure he's tired.
Well, he's played every minute of each of the last 2 games since returning from the concussion. 45 minutes in an overtime game against Tulsa. He's at 74 minutes now over the course of the last couple of games. Purvis off target. Rebound to Durham.
See, Rodney Purvis is settling right now. He's got the ability to put it on the floor, get higher percentage shots, draw fouls. But that 3-point shot looks so good to him, but nevertheless, he's not knocking him down. You got to start thinking, you know, I've got to work harder to get easier shots.
A step back from Martin. UConn continues to struggle from the outside, to your point, Lenny. 1 of 12 on 3-point attempts here tonight.
Yeah, sooner or later, light bulb comes on and says, okay, we're not doing that. Let's work a little harder.
Foul against Jawan Durham. Gives it up to Memphis. Look at Penny and, of course, the old Memphis Tiger. You'll see a really good doubleheader. If you haven't seen Giannis Antetokounmpo, he had the game winner at the Garden last night. Now the Knicks come to Milwaukee to open up our NBA Friday doubleheader. Then the Grizzlies, for all you Memphis fans, finishing up a 4-game road trip against the Golden State Warriors. And, of course, Penny was originally drafted by Golden State and then was part of the Chris Webber deal that sent him to Orlando and had a great career. Back in 1993 out of Memphis. Number 3 overall pick.
That long ago, huh?
Our producer Matt Bartley just asked, how old was I when that happened? I was 7 years old.
I'm glad he didn't ask how old I was.
Lawson going to the free throw line. Foul on Facey, his first of the night.
A little perspective there, right?
Little compare and contrast, man. Well, you're listening to some Stevie today in the hotel, and at least I could point it out that it was Stevie Wonder as soon as you were singing.
Yeah, I was a little surprised, young fella. I like your expanded taste when music was music.
Well, we're in a good town for it, my brother. One of the great towns in the country, Memphis. Beale Street, known for its blues, known for its music, and they're passionate about basketball in this town. Jackson with the shot fake, stepping in for 2. Trying to use the glass. And here come the Tigers. On the move, Lawson to Lawson.
And that's what I say about Dedrick Lawson, letting the game come to him. He doesn't go hunting points, gets himself in good position where he can score. And if he doesn't have the best shot, he'll move it on to someone else. Take a look at him, continues to run. Runs the floor nicely, splits the defense. I mean, that's outstanding potential written all over that young man. Not only for this year, and should he decide to stay in college basketball for years to come, but certainly on the next level.
Again, the Lawson brothers combined average about 19.5 rebounds a game, 34 points per game, 7 assists per game. They both play well over 30 minutes per game. It is high level of productivity over the course of this season with them playing together really for the first time fully. There was only 10 games last year for KJ Lawson before injuries derailed his opening season.
Well, and you know, you would expect the high IQ, having two parents who are coaches, players and coaches, and they understand the game extremely well.
Tremendously well-mannered kids, very mature for their age. They're still, again, underclassmen in college. Not surprising as the kids are coaches. What a play by Martin for Crawford. All Memphis rolling on Beale Street. Largest lead of the game is 19. 13 Connecticut turnovers, 10 points off those turnovers for the Tigers. We're back in 30 seconds. You get the sense it's going to be a scary team once you hit the heart of conference play because of all the weapons that are out there. And typical of Memphis, they've been fun to watch these last few years, even in the Josh Pastner seasons. When they run the floor, they're tough to beat. They've done it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they've demonstrated not only a high basketball IQ, the ability to control tempo the way they want it for the most part, but also the athleticism, and you see it come out defensively particularly.
Good job by Purvis on a tough shot, but Adams had to look out high for a three, and then the athleticism, the quickness, the closing speed of Memphis's defense forced him to pass.
I said it earlier, Rodney Purvis has to work harder for some shots, just like that. Higher percentage shots, see the ball go through the basket a few times, it makes those perimeter shots a lot easier.
There's the blitz from Connecticut against Dedrick Lawson. KJ working against Jalen Adams with Brima coming over to the tour. It comes loose to Dedrick Lawson, and he left it short. A good job by Facey to extend for the rebound. Largest lead has been 19.
There you go.
Yeah, it was a good look that time underneath for Purvis. Just couldn't connect.
That's what he has to face right now. And, you know, Kevin Ollie told us before the game in practice today that, you know, he can't bury his head. He starts missing some shots and worrying about that. There are other elements of this game that he must play in order for this team to be successful, including defense, going after the loose balls, creating for others. And once you get immersed in doing that, playing a complete game, your shots start to fall.
Rivers knocks it down late in the clock. He's got 7. Memphis back up by 19. Inside of 8 to play for the second. Adams with a good move. Tipped up and in by Brima.
Case is too little, too late right now, but, you know, those are the kinds of plays, the hustle plays, the aggressive plays that UConn needs in asserting themselves to make their offense work.
Second effort, back up and in for Jamario Rivers, plus the foul. 7:10 to play, and the Tigers doing it, looking for their first conference victory tonight.
Chris Cotter back in Bristol. Purdue at Ohio State over on ESPN. And look at Caleb Swanigan on the block, calling for it, and he gets it and won. Just 7 points on the night for Biggie. Purdue right now with a 4-point lead over Ohio State on ESPN. Adam, Len?
Yes, CC. Caleb Swanigan with 12 double-doubles this year. You'll see more Big Ten action coming our way on Saturday. Michigan State, Penn State. Again, it's at the Palestra. If you haven't watched a game from that legendary facility, watch it. 1 Eastern on ESPN. Then good matchup. Justin Jackson and North Carolina, top 15 team right now, will host their rivals, NC State. You got to watch Dennis Smith coming off that triple-double. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN.
Big Ten invading a little Big 5 territory.
Yeah, I
right
like it, man.
Yeah.
I like Patrick Chambers, though, going out. And again, he's given up home games. Played at Madison Square Garden last year. I believe it was against Michigan. Now playing at the Palestra this year. He's a really good recruiter. He's big in the Philadelphia area. That's going to be big for Penn State to try to get a win against a program like Michigan State on Saturday. Rivers gives Memphis its largest lead at 20, capping off the three-point play. Purvis from the outside hits a three, his second of the night.
And there goes the philosophy of working hard to get shots, higher percentage shots. You see the ball go through the basket a couple of times. That outside shot starts to fall a lot easier.
He's got both threes for UConn, does Purvis, on 13 attempts tonight. That was their first three since the 17-minute mark of the first half. Lawson's in a two-man game. Now it's Diedrich in the post. Good job by Facey. That was well defended by Kenton Facey.
Yeah, when matched up 1-to-1 against Diedrich Lawson, Facey has done a terrific job.
And a nice finish by Vance Jackson with a chance at three. And that's the fourth on Jamario Rivers.
Take a look at the push right there. Nice job attacking, not settling. We saw Vance Jackson earlier in his last shot. It was a one-dribble pull-up when he had a lane to the basket. This time he didn't settle.
Whistling a foul underneath. And if that's Jamario Rivers, that might be number 5. They'll get Lawson instead.
Regardless of outcome, you got to tip your cap to Kenton Facey. He's been battling inside, working hard, trying to get position. Hasn't always gone right for him, but it's not certainly from a lack of trying.
Jalen Adams, who's got Martin guarding him. Purvis steps out. That one got short. Jackson the offensive rebound of the putback. 6 for Vance.
And 13-point lead now, coming all the way down from the largest lead, which was 19. The crowd getting a little antsy.
7-0 run, and Adams does pick up his 3rd foul. I'll send Martin to the free throw line.
You know, Kevin's got to really like some of the things that he's seen, especially from an effort standpoint. As I said, it hasn't always gone their way. But as long as guys continue to put forth the effort, ultimately it will.
Front end of the 1-and-1 miss there by Jeremiah Martin. This is big here for UConn. A 3 would suddenly make it a 10-point game. Inside of 6 to play. Purvis has been the man to take him.
Yeah, I'm happy he didn't settle for that jumper right there.
They could use an inside touch here. Purvis, tough shot. Can't get it to go. Diedrich Lawson's there for the rebound.
And that was a portrait of a guy trying to do it all by himself. And Rodney Purvis has been a terrific player throughout his career. But he's got to realize he's got teammates.
And Diedrich Lawson just picked up his 10th rebound of the game, so he ties Caleb Swanigan and Bryce Washington of Louisiana for the most double-doubles in the country with a dozen. Although Swanigan's working on number 13 tonight against Ohio State. Here's Diedrich, late in the clock, under control for 2.
And you know what? At a time when Memphis really needed a bucket,
absolutely,
he was demanding the ball, and you gotta like that. That's a settle shot right there, Jalen Adams. Some of that comes from fatigue.
And playing every minute the last 2 games, including the overtime game. He is 2 of 13 from the floor tonight. 0 for 4 from three-point range. UConn is 2 of 16 as a club from 3.
Again, Lawson asking for it. Sees the double.
Beautiful.
Delivers.
Poised and talented. That's a dangerous combination for Diedrich Lawson, and Rivers with a dozen. Off the 6th assist for Diedrich tonight. Nice move by Jackson. Smooth looking shot by the 6'8 freshman. He's got 8.
And those are the things, as I said, I mean, you're going to find a lot to be negative about, but there's some positive things going on out here for UConn. It's just about being able to package them together.
Lawson the pull-up 3. Well, he checked for him, I would think. Adams to Purvis, controls it and lays it in with contact. And he'll have a chance at a 3-point play on the other side.
And boy, he just shed Jeremiah Martin and going to the hole. Talk about the strength of Rodney Purvis, using pretty good judgment, going straight to the basket. And those shoulders, man.
You can get this now or later.
13-point Memphis lead. Both teams looking for their first American Conference victory. And the time to look at tonight's power performance, brought to you by Kohler Power, and Markel Crawford continues to be a really nice supplement, if you even want to call him that. That might be underselling him a little bit.
That's right, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 9 of 12 from the field. Only 1 3-point attempt, and he made that one. No reliance on that, and we take a look. This is the hot hand right now, and this is what allows Dedrick Lawson, you know, to kind of feel good about playing second fiddle for a while. Lawson's line is not bad either now. 15 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. But giving up the spotlight to Markel Crawford from a scoring standpoint, as long as they get the win, I think they're both very, very happy.
And a career high for Markel Crawford in the victory for Tubby Smith's club over South Carolina. The best win of the season RPI-wise. Purvis, the only Husky in double figures tonight, finishes off a 3-point play. It is down to 12. The lead has been as large as 20 here in the second half. KJ Lawson wasn't forcing it there as Rivers was trying to go back there.
You know, with 3:45, I would say, yeah, pull it back out, work some clock.
Yep.
But also under pressure like that, sitting in this pressure scheme like that, you don't want to take the ball straight to Amita Brima either.
Tony Green's going to roll this to Connecticut. Rare turnover. Just the third of the night for the Tigers, and Rodney Purvis showing the hustle on defense.
And I think every time out, Kevin Ollie obviously sees his team faced with the adversity of the injuries and the inability to get their offense clicking the way he wants, but he keeps exhorting them to give him some effort.
Big three for Jackson, knocks it down.
Goodness.
It's a single-digit game. A 9-point game with 3:20 to go. Vance Jackson with a big second half and 9 here in the second stanza. Purvis is out there on Jeremiah Martin. A 15-4 Connecticut run to get him back within 9.
You wonder if UConn realizes that this game, the balance of this game, is all about defense.
Shot clock inside of 5. Martin triggers and knocks down the three. His first points of the night, and they come at an opportune time.
And we saw the freshman Jackson come out and didn't have his hands up.
Durham, no, out to Jackson. Deep three.
What?
Oh, UConn had a big opportunity there.
Man.
And Kevin Alley saying, hey, you got to pass the ball. You got to get the offense going. 2.5 left.
And that's when you get too excited.
Tigers might have an opportunity at the dagger here. Rivers banks it in. Jamario Rivers starting each of the last 4 games for the injured Chad Rycook. Has 14 points on 8 shots tonight. Purvis for 3. Offensive rebound, second chance. Brima puts it back up and in.
And that's the measure of effort right there. Brima, Durham really battling on the glass right now.
Learning moments, learning minutes late in this game for UConn.
17 second chance points for UConn, but for offensive rebounds and second chance opportunities, you know, they would have been blown out of this gym.
Yep. Late in the clock, Martin. Brima's there for the rebound. 85 seconds left. Adams, the kick. Jackson fakes the 3, now takes it and hits. A couple of big threes for Vance Jackson here, and again down to 9 with 70 seconds remaining.
This might be a coming out party for Vance Jackson, known to be a 3-point shooter.
Rivers at the rim on a beautiful Crawford feed. And there's another answer for Memphis where they've been tested here in the second half. Adams. Final minute. Some big nights all around for a balanced Memphis team. The crowd to its feet. Here's FedEx Forum.
That shot was the last gasp for UConn.
42.3 to play, and a reminder that First Take is now on ESPN. That's right, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. Eastern to noon. Stephen A., Max, Molly, they discuss and debate the most compelling and entertaining topics from the world of sports on ESPN, the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. Brima with the rebound. Big night for Brima. 14 rebounds for Amina Brima. That is a career high tonight for him. He's got 9 points as well, so a chance at a double-double. And that's just picked off. Free safety style by Markel Crawford. And that'll close out the night. The shot clock is off, 70-59. Memphis with the lead. Rematch of last year's American Conference Championship game after UConn won all 3 meetings a year ago. UConn playing right down to the buzzer. Adams will lay it in with 5.7 left. Memphis will get its first league victory. UConn will fall to 0-3 in conference. They've lost 4 in a row. 4 games under 500 for the first time since Jim Calhoun's first season. A rocky start for a banged-up UConn club, and Tubby Smith's crew looks very sharp on offense. A 70-61 win for Len Elmore. Adam Amin sings So Long from Beale Street.
Watch Dierks Bentley live from the Capital One Quicksilver Music Stage at the College Football Playoff Championship Tailgate Party. Then catch the National Championship game Monday, January 9th on ESPN.
There he is. Shemek Karnowski. Coach used to call him a mountain masquerading as a man, but now what is he?
Mountains masquerade as Shemek Karnowski.
That's his new line. 23 minutes away from Gonzaga and USF. The Dons getting set to welcome in Gonzaga on ESPN2. That should be a good one. Not a good one for UConn, although we haven't really seen very many good ones from that team all year.
Injuries, man.
Injuries, but you see Kevin Ollie there on the bench, and what can he do? I mean, it's got to be very frustrating for him, but can there be a silver lining where at least you get the satisfaction of coaching a team up, maybe that isn't very talented? You're saying no, you wouldn't be able to get that satisfaction.
I thought you were going to answer.
You've got to make something of this season, right?
Without a doubt. Look, he's playing a very young basketball team, so he's got to develop Vance Jackson. He's got to develop Jalen Adams. He's got to find a way to get Stephen Enoch to be more productive. He's got to take this young group of freshmen and get them to learn how to play hard. So when they get healthy next year, when they get Terry Larriere back, when they get Altariq Gilbert back, now all of a sudden you're adding pieces, and this young core understands how to compete. It is very frustrating. You're talking about a guy in his second year who won a national championship. He won a national championship. You're talking about a guy who played in the NBA for the best coaches in the history of our game. He's tremendously competitive. It is really, really difficult. But Kevin Ollie, nothing's ever been given to him. Like he always says, you don't take the elevator, you take the stairs. He'll work through this, but this is going to be a very difficult season for him.
I think sometimes expectations get blown out of proportion. I mean, it's like, hey, guy, you should win a championship every year. Why are we not winning the ACC every year? You have to have patience sometimes with teams, and this team has dealt with a lot of injuries, Seth. And when you deal with injuries to guys who are all known to score the basketball for your team, and then you have Jalen, who's trying to do everything. Jalen Adams, but he can't. He had 4 points. He struggled today from the floor.
And he's not Shabazz Napier.
He's not. He's not going to be a pro. He's not. Well, I'm not saying he's not going to be a pro. I'm saying he doesn't have the same kind of
he doesn't have the supporting cast with him.
Or Kemba Walker-like tendencies to take over a ballgame with that kind of quickness. So I think, unfortunately, too much pressure is on Rodney Purvis and Jalen Adams, and they don't have the scoring power to keep up with the likes of a team like Memphis.
Memphis, to me, I tell you, was impressive. 3 turnovers. When you think of Tubby Smith, here's what you get with Tubby Smith. You get defense and discipline. You get guys that understand how to play to their strengths. They've got a very athletic front court. When Crawford shoots the ball the way he did today, and the quality of his shots. You see, they're getting discipline offensively, and they're competing defensively. Tubby Smith is a great program builder, and he's a tremendous mentor. He'll get these kids to buy into him and his vision 100%.
Realistically, how many teams from the AAC do you see?
I was just thinking that exact same thing. You talk about depth of conferences all year long, how there's a lot of conferences that have
Cincinnati
more
depth. Is a very good basketball team. SMU is going to be an NCAA tournament team. Houston's on the cusp, and I'll tell you what, they can really score. Rob Gray is really good. Memphis is in the conversation. They got that good South Carolina win. So, I mean, they're going to have teams in the conversation. Don't count out Temple. Temple's got some pretty good wins. They got a West Virginia win that's going to obviously, hold some weight. So, I mean, you're looking at a league that's kind of in transition. The big problem with the American right now is they're all over the place. What I mean by that is there's not a great deal of commonality within the league.
All right, let's go over to what the game that we've got on ESPN right now. It's Purdue and Ohio State.